Hi friends, Krista here. Thank you so much for stopping by Books and Jams today. It is time for my March book haul. I was kind of hoping that March would be a no-buy month because it's middle grade March and I had a ton of middle grade books on my shelf already, and I'm trying to have 6 months throughout this year at some point where I don't buy any books. Well, I went to the library one day and accidentally looked at their sale shelf and found 2 books that I needed to have. Or wanted to have, I should say. Got in the car on the way home, and then I was like, wait a minute, I wasn't supposed to buy any books this month. And then I just kind of threw it all out the window. So then I went home and shortly thereafter placed a book outlet order, and I actually placed another one at the end of the month that's not here yet. And I had a couple books sent to me, and we just have a lot of books to talk about as usual. But the 2 books that kicked it off are 2 more books in the Mitford series. I like that they're all going to match when I get them, but I recently found books 3, 5, and 7 in a thrift store for 50 cents each. And I found these for $1 each. And this is books 2 and 4. So now I have 1 through 5. I really hope I like this series. The second is A Light in the Window. And then the 4th is Out to Canaan. So again, I think this is just a small town series that people tell me I'm going to love. And I'm hopeful that I'm going to love it. So when I found them for super cheap, how could I pass that up, right? How could I pass it up? So that got this all going. Of course, I do have my book of the month order as well. And I did choose 3 books this month. There was just too many good choices. So I have the Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. I loved 2 other books by her, The Broken Girls and The Sundown Motel. And so this was one of my anticipated reads for the year. And so I was really glad that it was a book of the month option. So I picked up that. I also grabbed I Must Betray You by Ruta Sepetys, another author that I've really loved. She's going to write historical fiction about a topic that I don't really know about. And this one takes place in Romania in 1989. So I'm really excited. I've already heard some good reviews about this one. And I'm really, really looking forward to reading that. And the other one that just sounded really good was one of their main choices. And it's called The Cartographers by Peng Shepherd. I am not familiar with this author or this book. I haven't really heard people talk about this book, but it's all about maps, which I love maps. I used to love maps a lot more before GPS existed, but I still do love looking at maps. And this one is about Nell Young. Her whole life and greatest passion is cartography. Her father, Dr. Daniel Young, is a legend in the field and Nell's personal hero, but she hasn't seen or spoken to him ever since he cruelly fired her and destroyed her reputation after an argument over an old, cheap gas station highway map. But when Dr. Young is found dead in his office in New York Public Library, with the very same seemingly worthless map hidden in his desk, Nell can't resist investigating. To her surprise, she soon discovers that the map is incredibly valuable and exceedingly rare. In fact, she may now have the only copy left in existence because a mysterious collector has been hunting down and destroying every last one, along with anyone who gets in the way. But why? We don't know why. It just sounds crazy and interesting, all about a map. I'm really intrigued. And the New York Public Library. I'm very intrigued. Let's next do the books that were sent to me. At the very beginning of the month, I did the collab video for Middle Grade March, and one of the content creators who was in that collab, Amy, A-Star Reads, she just sent me a little thank you for including her, and she sent me Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. I'm so excited. I have heard basically nothing but praise for this book. It's a magical fantasy book. Amari's brothers go missing and she goes looking for them. I think there's a magical school involved. Amari Peters has never stopped believing her missing brother Quentin is alive, not even when the police told her otherwise or when she got in trouble for standing up to bullies who said he was gone for good. She's going to compete for a spot against kids who've known about magic their whole lives. So she discovers she's got some magic. There's a magical competition. I'm so in for this, and I've seriously heard nothing but praise. So Amy, thank you for being a part of that collab, but also thank you for sending me this book. That was really kind and thoughtful of you, and I'm so excited to read this book. So excited. I did an unboxing a couple weeks ago of a really fun middle grade and children's subscription box between the bookends, and I really love this box, and in the box I got 2 books. So I have already talked about these 2 middle grade mysteries, Goldie Vance, The Hocus Pocus Hoax. Some have told me that this is a graphic novel series, but this one is not a graphic novel. This is just a mystery. So we have Goldie Vance by Lilium Rivera and also Coop Knows the Scoop by Taryn Souders. So 2 fun mystery middle grades that I've already talked about. And then I had 2 authors / publishing companies reach out to me And the first that I received is called, I love the cover of this. It's called Rhea and the Blood of the Nectar. And this is the first in the Chronicles of Astranthia by Payal Doshi. Mango and Marigold Press produced this, and it's just really, really nice. It's going to take place in a fantastical India, I believe. It all begins on the night Rhea turns 12. After a big fight with her twin brother Rohan on their birthday, Rhea's life in the small village of Darjeeling, India gets turned on its head. It's 4 a.m. and Rohan is nowhere to be found. It hasn't even been a day, and Amma acts like Rohan's gone forever. Her grandmother, too, is behaving strangely. Unwilling to give up on her brother Rhea and her friend Leela meet Mishti Dadi, a wrinkly old fortune teller whose powers of divination set them off on a thrilling and secret quest. So another book where a young girl is going to go looking for her missing brother. Kind of like Amari, but this one is set in India. So it's going to have some fantastical elements as well. I'm just really excited. It's beautiful. So thank you to Mango and Marigold Press for sending that one. And the other one is a very tiny little slim novel. This is also the first in a new series. This is book 1 of the Intra-Earth Chronicles. And this one's called The Two Sisters by Kara Jacobson. And this is a futuristic book. So in the year 2444, 2 noble sisters, Sasha and Adrienne, have survived a nuclear fallout only to be torn apart. The ground splits open and Adrienne is thrown from her horse, plummeting into the ravine. Spurred on by the hope that Adrienne lives, Sasha embarks on a journey through the desert to face the ravine that claimed her only sister. Meanwhile, deep within the earth, Adrienne is running for her life. She took something that did not belong to her. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, I'm excited for both of these, so thank you so much for sending those my way. Before I get to the book outlet order, I did place an Amazon order, and it's because of you that I was able to do it. I occasionally get a little gift card from Amazon to which I then use to buy books, obviously, because it's from you and this is a book channel, so I'm going to use it to buy books. So I did receive one in February and one in March. So I was able to purchase some middle grade books, of course. When the World Was Ours by Liz Kessler is an Amanda Made Me Do It. Amanda at the Curly Reader raved about this book this month. This one is a World War II historical fiction, which I just absolutely love. So this one is in Vienna in 1936. 3 young friends, Leo, Elsa, and Max, spend a perfect day together, unaware that around them Europe is descending into growing darkness and that they will soon be cruelly ripped apart from one another. With their lives taking them across Europe to Germany, England, Prague, and Poland, will they ever find their way back to each other? Will they want to? Dun, 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 dun. So that sounds really good. I did also grab the 8th book in the Keeper of the Lost Cities series because I did not have book 8. So this one is called Legacy, and I'm not there yet, but I will be shortly. So I wanted to make sure that I had it. I've been talking about the Keeper of the Lost Cities books for months. If you don't know that I love them yet, you must be new. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I love Keeper of the Lost Cities. And another one that was talked about in one of our middle grade March live conversations is The Skylarks War by Hilary McKay. I think this might be a World War I historical fiction. It doesn't really say a year on the back, so I'm not sure. But we follow Clary. She's someone who finds the good in everybody, even in her father, who isn't really fond of children, especially girls. He doesn't worry about her education because he knows she won't need it. It's the early 20th century, yeah, so World War I. And the only thing girls are expected to do is behave. But Clary longs for a life of her own. She wants to dive off cliffs and go swimming with her brother Peter and cousin Rupert. And more than anything, she wants an education. When war breaks out, Clary is shocked to find that Rupert has enlisted. And then he is declared missing and Clary is devastated. Now she must make a momentous step into the wide world. For if she misses the chance, she may never make it. So yeah, I think that's a World War I. And I've heard good things about that. So thank you to clicking on the links and shopping on Amazon for whatever you're buying on Amazon, but I appreciate it because I was able to get a couple more books. Okay, and this last big stack is my book outlet order. My first of 2 March book outlet orders. The first thing that I got is not a book, but I picked up this embroidery kit because embroidery is something that I love when I see other people's, and I think that this might be something fun to learn and do while I listen to audiobooks. So I'm challenging myself. There are 5 projects in here, and I think it comes with everything I need to make those 5 projects. And if they're the ones that are on the front, they're super cute. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to trying something new. So I grabbed that. So the first 5 are middle grade books from Book Outlet. And one of them is a book that I've already read and absolutely loved. When Stars Are Scattered. I loved this book so much, by Victoria Jameson and Omar Mohammed. It's a nonfiction graphic memoir about Omar and his brother Hassan. These 2 brothers have spent most of their young lives so far in a refugee camp in Kenya. I believe they're refugees from Somalia. We just learn about their life in the refugee camp. We learn why they're there on their own, what happened to their parents. We learn about them trying to find family and belonging within this camp. We learn about the education system and how the camp itself runs, the differences between males and females and expectation of other families at camp. Like, it just was so informative and so well done. I cared about these brothers so much. I loved this book. And I loved that at the end, you get some pictures of the actual Hassan and Omar. It's so good. It's so good. So I was thrilled to pick that one up from Book Outlet. I grabbed the Winterbourne Home for Vengeance and Valor. I need to get these stickers off here, by Allie Carter. Most of these honestly are going to be cover buys. Yeah. 3 of them are cover buys, and then 1 is a sequel to a book I already have. But this one was just a cover buy. I can't remember if I heard somebody talking about this or why it jumped out to me, but it did. Then an author that I have not yet read and now own 3, I think, or 4. This one is called How to Be a Girl in the World by Kayla Carter. This is about a young girl named Lydia. She hasn't been comfortable in her own skin since the end of 6th grade, when the boys at her school commented on the way she looks in her uniform. Her cousin and friends think that she should be flattered, but the boys, and sometimes Mom's boyfriend Jeremy, make Lydia uncomfortable and confused. Even more confusing is when Jeremy hovers too close and hugs a little too long. Ooh. So that's just going to be a tough conversations in that one. The one that's a sequel, I love these covers with silhouettes. The first one is The Evolution of Calpernia Tate, I believe. Yeah. By Jacqueline Kelly, and this is the sequel, The Curious World of Calpernia Tate. Also has a gorgeous cover just like the first one. Kelly V is back in this charming follow-up to the Newbery Honor book. And I don't want to read the back because it's a sequel. And then here's a hardcover that I just thought was beautiful. Which Way is Home by Maria Keeley. Another cover that just jumped out to me. The riveting story of a young girl forced to flee her country in the aftermath of World War II. That's probably all I needed to read to convince me to pop this one in my cart. And the last 7 books I have are all adult reads. One of them I've already read, The Last Year of the War by Susan Meissner, but I would love to own all of her books, at least all of her more recent ones. And I have the rest in paperback, so I wanted this one in paperback as well. So I grabbed The Last Year of the War. In this one, we follow 2 girls who meet at an internment camp in the United States. One of them is German and one of them is Japanese, or one of them comes from a German heritage and the other from Japanese. They meet and become fast best friends. But then after the war, they both head back to their countries. The one girl heads to Japan and the other to Germany, and they haven't lived there ever in their lives. And so it just talks about what that's like for them. It was really, really well done. If you have been around here for a while, you may know that the word orphan is a buzzword for me. So I found 2 books that just have the word orphan in the title. I should probably do a weekend reading vlog where I just read a couple orphan books, because I have quite a few now. But the first one is by Rachel Wesson. It's a home for unloved orphans. This one takes place in Virginia in 1933. Lauren Greenwood never thought that she would be destitute and without a penny to her name, but when her father mercilessly disowns her in the depths of winter, that is her fate. Now homeless, she finds America in the devastating grip of the Great Depression. Children run wild in the icy streets, endless lines for soup kitchens crowd frosty sidewalks, and desperation hangs in the air. All alone in the world, she finds an orphanage in the sprawling fields of Virginia countryside, but she is appalled to find the children living in shocking conditions, huddled together for warmth. The home for unloved orphans is on the brink of closure, and the helpless innocents may lose the roof over their heads. Can Lauren save these children who have been rejected by the world, or in a time of so much suffering, is there simply no hope? Oh my word, that sounds really good. Definitely a book that would appeal to me. And the other one is called The Orphan Sisters, and this is by Shirley Dixon. This is a World War II novel. Two young sisters abandoned by their mother at an orphanage embark on a heartbreaking and unforgettable journey. But we also have kind of a dual timeline, 1929 and 1940, so it's not that spread out. In the 1929 timeline, we follow these sisters when they're 4 years old and 8 years old, and then we follow them again when they are like 20 years older, or almost 20 years older. Well, it's really only 11 years older. Young women at the brink in the midst of World War II. So, also sounds very good. I have two kind of romance type books. Last year, I borrowed Float Plan by Trish Dollar from the library. Never was able to get to it, but I did in the meantime hear a lot of people say that this was a really good one. Very cute. And it's going to deal with grief in some way. Anna has lost her fiance, and it says she's been shipwrecked by grief until a reminder goes off about a trip that they were supposed to take together. She ends up going to sea in their sailboat, intending to complete the journey alone, but realizes she can't do it by herself, hires another man to sail with her, and sure, romance is going to ensue. And then this just looks really cute. I haven't heard too much about this one. A Lady's Guide to Mischief and Mayhem by Amanda Collins. I feel like I've seen this a little bit, but I can't remember if people liked it or not. But it's going to be a mystery. England, 1865. A newspaper columnist, Lady Catherine Bascom, finds herself the subject of speculation when her latest article leads to an arrest in the murders plaguing London. Bum, ba-da-bum. I'm sure that's going to put her in danger's way, and there's going to be a handsome detective to come and save the day. I just have two more. This book, I do not love the cover at all. The Other Bennett Sister by Janice Hadlow. But this one was very well praised. I think Katie at Life Between Words, this is one of her favorite books last year. And I just love anything Jane Austen related, as you may have seen in my anticipated reads for the spring. But this is going to be Mary Bennett's life. What if her life took a different path from the one laid out for her in Pride and Prejudice? What if the marginalized middle daughter of the Bennett family, the plain girl who takes refuge in books, found a fulfillment like the ones enjoyed by her prettier, more confident sisters? This is the plot of The Other Bennett Sister, and that's all I need to know. Mary Bennett is often looked down upon in Pride and Prejudice, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see her have a different kind of a story. And then finally, I have this book by Malala Yousafzai. I read her book, I Am Malala, and really, really loved it and learned so much. And this, We Are Displaced, is actually a collection of stories of Malala's story and other stories from around the world of different refugee girls. And I just think that this is going to be really interesting. I don't know how many are in here. Oh yeah, okay. So this is divided by part 1, I Am Displaced. So it's like a shorter version of Malala's story. The second section, We Are Displaced, has the stories of 11 different refugee girls from around the world, from different countries. I just think that that's going to be really interesting and very, very important, because it's such a reality in the world that we live in, that there are so many refugees from so many different countries. And this is going to show me a side of life that I am blessed to have not had to encounter on my own, but I have so much compassion for. So yeah, I'm really interested in this. Shares various stories of displacement, including her own, part memoir, part communal storytelling. We Are Displaced introduces readers to some of the incredible girls Malala has met on her many journeys and lets each one tell her own story. Girls who have lost their community, relatives, and often the only world they've ever known, but have not lost hope. Oh, that sounds like it's going to be fan-stinkin-tastic. I'll just hold up these ones because the rest are all on the shelf there. So that is all the books that I'm hauling this month. Almost. I have one more book outlet order coming because I have no self-control. I would love to hear if you have read any of these books, which ones jump out to you as sounding super interesting, which ones have you read and loved, which ones should I add to my next TBRs. I would love to hear your thoughts on these books or anything else that you're excited that you've brought into your home in the month of March. I love it. Oh man, so many of these books make me want to pick them up right away. That's going to be it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here and spending some time with me and supporting my channel by commenting and liking and all of the things. You guys mean a lot to me. I wouldn't do this without you. So I appreciate you very, very much. And I look forward to talking with you in another video very soon. Bye.